We have the entire global thing to discuss, which we will do, but let's also open it up to questions. Nimesh?
I would like to ask questions to both the guests. It's Diwali time, we talk about wealth creation. You gave a nice setup on the top down, where India stands in earnings and everything. But Raamdeo ji, I want to ask you, for the benefit of the viewers and new first-time investors, how do you identify a big winner like Trent? I'm asking this because, I met a very senior fund manager last week, and his biggest regret of this year was to not buy Trent. I believe you have in your fund as well. The stock has done phenomenally well. It's always been expensive. So, because you've seen so many market cycles, how do you identify a winner like Trent and ride for a very long time?
Stock tip chahiye yaar, Nimesh ho gaya.
Next Trent.
You have to find, see, one of the things you need for this kind of stocks to come through is to find a tailwind, massive tailwind. See, what happens is, markets don't know where the tailwind is going to come up. Say, energy sector, it was a dead. Suddenly in last 12 months, energy sector is thriving all over. I mean, historical IPO just about closed yesterday. I believe 250,000 crores have been kind of put in the demand. So clearly it is backing the tailwind. So you have to find a tailwind where tailwind is. Like capital market has a tailwind. 4 million customers are coming every month. So you have to find who are the beneficiaries of that tailwind and then go and buy.
One person is sitting next to you in terms of benefiting from
Yeah, so everybody is, so you have to figure out like energy transition. Yeah. So you have to find one tailwind. See, what has happened is Buffett and all has taught us, and he has over-taught kind of thing. People. So what has happened is this quality buying, good franchise buying. But what has happened is the last 25, 30 years globally, these companies have become exorbitantly expensive, and they are not growth companies. Yeah. So if you have 70, 80 P multiple and 5% growth, how will you make money? Sure. By no mathematics can you make money. Okay, but it looks very nice on your Nestle, Lever, and I don't want to name too many. So, but so these names are not going to make money for you. You have to find the one where the tailwind, you are early in identifying the tailwind. And you bet on that. So like, I'll tell you now past. So like, I remember buying Bharti Airtel in 2003. So at that time, there were no phones. In India, there were 40 million fixed lines for this country, $1 billion plus. So the phone was absolute dire need. And then these guys, they grow like 5-7% month on month. That kind of growth. But it was not making money. So they came out with IPO at $45 and quickly it became $19. Yeah. Okay, you could buy entire Bharti for 5,000 crores. Yes. So I was lucky to identify that, yes, this is going to be a growth sector. I bought it for doubler. My always intention is to buy a company which will double in 3 years. Okay. But it turned out to be 25x. Yes. So now I can say I bought a multi-bagger. No. It turned out to be multi-bagger. So you never buy a multi-bagger to start with. You buy as a healthy investment, and it turns out to be, the tailwind turns out to be so big that you end up getting the kind of a trend kind of a return.
HDFC FlexiCap Fund, it's multiplied 200 times, close to 200 times in last 30 years. And of course, I must say that mutual funds are subject to market risk. On a serious note, past performance is no guarantee of future. But what it shows is the power of compounding. What it shows is the power of an Indian economy where we are so lucky, where the economy has been growing at a decent pace. You have a corporate sector which converts that growth into their revenues and profits. You have a stock market which converts that into the returns for the minority shareholder. And you have a mutual fund industry where with 500 rupees you can participate in the same growth. This is phenomenal. This has happened only in the United States and very few countries.
No, there are only two countries. There are only two countries which are compounded. India and America.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is no other country. So there are more failed countries on this count. Then, so if you don't invest here, go to US, otherwise don't go anywhere.
I think long-term returns are dollar returns are 12%, both markets, right?
I think so, more or less.
20,
but it's a compounded return. It's not a jerky
compounded.
One.
Exactly.
That in 1 month you go up by 30% and then next 30 years you don't do anything. Yeah. It's not that kind of market. I mean, the market makes new high almost every year here. I mean, even if there is a massive breakdown, in a year's time it just comes back.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
that kind of compounding has not happened anywhere.
I think that's an emphatic statement.
We're talking about 15 days of correction and maybe a quarter of earnings slowdown. I mean, we have handled much bigger challenges in 25 years when all of this has compounded. Yeah.
I think Hormuz, you want to ask a question?
Actually, I wanted to ask both of you gentlemen, for a better part of 2023 and for the earlier part of 2024 as well, right? Everybody was talking about one sector, that was the PSUs. Everybody was talking about PSUs. Every day you would see stocks go up 6, 7, 8, 10%. Now that these stocks have corrected 30, 40, 50% from their peaks, and some of them have corrected by that extent in just 2 or 3 months, for a first-time investor, sir, you mentioned that most of the participants in the market who have come post-COVID have not seen a cycle like this. They've not seen a 2008, they've not seen a 2017, 2018 kind of a mid-cap, small-cap meltdown that they've seen. What would your advice be to such kind of an investor who would look at a past performance saying, "Ke haan, ye to 2 mahine mein double ho gaya, 3 mahine mein double ho gaya," and then you see the kind of fall that you see? It's very easy to get disheartened, right? What would your advice be to such kind of a participant and a sector like PSUs now? Do you think that a 30, 40, 50% correction has now made valuations healthy?
No. See, I know PSUs have been disaster for 15 years, 20 years. From 2005, they were the commanding heights of India. In the stock market, they were commanding heights. 40, 50% of market cap used to be PSUs. Then it became literally nothing. Wealth creation was literally zero in 22, 23, and then this thing happens. And it was crazy. I mean, it was completely unreasonable where the valuation had gone. 3P, 4. Coal India, I think, was low single digit, like 2, 3, 4P, 40, 50% ROE, payout of 9, 10% yield. So clearly, as if the coal is going to stop, I mean, like next 12 months. And he was not able to supply coal. Even now, there shortage of coal. So I think the markets have the tendency of the whole crowd somehow, there is a problem with, I mean, any markets, that they come together and they make a theme very, very unpopular. It's a myth. So you, I mean, the guys who made money, obviously the guys, they didn't buy into PSU. They had PSU somehow. And then the whole thing reversed and they made money. Now you deliberately go and buy PSU at some good price. I don't think that is going to make money. I mean, you have to find your own way of making, but it's not a generic call that you can make money out of PSUs.
You know,
as a house, we have benefited a lot.
Yeah, they were the guys who were
some of the
sitting.
PSUs that we had with conviction for a very long time, I think they ultimately turned out to be very, very good. A lot of credit to the government for bringing in the operational efficiency, the capital efficiency that over the last couple of years that has been brought in and which is reflecting in the market. But at the same time, the whole, I mean, it's not a sector because I think companies are in different kinds of businesses. But again, there were pockets where because of the low floating stock, a lot of euphoria and maybe the narrative got ahead of the fundamentals. Prices reached a level where there was no way incremental money could have been made. So it's good to see some bit of correction there.
Let me welcome another set of stars who've joined our galaxy. We have Mr. Nilesh Shah from Kotak AMC and S. Narain. Thank you very much for joining in. We want to hear more from you as well. But if I could just extrapolate that question on PSUs, Hormaz's question, to I think a larger issue that a lot of investors, mutual fund investors, would be confronted with today. They're seeing the value of their investments erode. Now, human tendency would be that even if I don't need the money, my God, yesterday I was up 50% on my 2-year return or whatever, and today I'm up only 30%, tomorrow it's 25%. So the tendency seems to be, should I just book profit right now? So Navneet, what's the advice that you'd want to give to this very genuine question that I think a lot of mutual fund investors would be having today?
That should be book profit because
you're seeing the value of your portfolio fall. You don't necessarily need the money, but you want to feel smart, like I've preserved my gain, right? And then you don't want to.
After that, I mean, you pay tax now, you put that, and then maybe you wait for the correction. And it's very, very difficult. I think all of us over the years, we have heard that, we have told people that it's the time in the market, may sound like cliched, but it's the time in the market, not the timing. I think none of us have been able to do that, and I don't think easier said than done.
Yeah.
Let me give you a nice quote here. Patience is bitter, but fruits are very, very sweet.
Oh, nice.
That's a better one.
So, that's a good one. I mean, you have to bring patience to investing. You can't be always all-time high, and all the correction has to be in my account, isn't it? That's what So who's going to take the correction?
I'll give you an example. So someone called me and said that, retail investor who's also into direct stocks, said that I bought HDFC Bank because it's supposed to be a long-term fundamental good bet, right? And it's falling right now, but it'll do well. So that's my thought process. I said, good for you, congratulations. The same person sort of calls me again saying, I sold HDFC Bank because I was hearing that they have some structural growth issues. Next couple of quarters will be difficult. I sold it, but now it started rising again after this quarter. So that's the kind of trap that people get into, even though they want to be, fundamental investors.
I just want to warn people about one thing. So in February 20, we were here when we touched that high of 12,000 on Nifty. In next couple of weeks, we fell to 7,700 by 24th March or so because of the COVID. And from April onwards, what happened that as markets started recovering, we started getting redemptions because people had this psyche that I've seen the fall from 12,000 to 7,700. As it went to like 9,000 and 10,000, people thought, let me lock in my gain because still we are hearing about COVID and whatever the impact on growth. But all of them have missed out on the big rally over the next 3 years. It's very difficult to time it.
Just one thing I want to ask. We're not in a 2000, was it 18 or 19 when mid caps and small caps kind of topped out, and then we didn't do anything for the next 3, 4.
18, yeah.
18, right? It was January of that year. Raamdeo, any thoughts? We will only know in hindsight, but that was a top, and then for next 3, 4 years, absolutely nothing happened, right? 4 years, mid caps and small caps.
I don't remember, so actually I can't say anything.
But do you think
I was fully invested at top of the 2008. And at the bottom also I was fully invested.
2008, 2019, right?
19 you're saying, okay.
Yeah.
Even
19.
then I was fully invested. And I've done well. So I can't figure out why.
That is the answer
That's
then.
the answer. Yeah. That's how long-term wealth is made.
Any thoughts?
No, I mean, the investors will become more discriminative. I think, as I said earlier, that in last couple of quarters, everything goes up. Good news, not so good news. I mean, good result, not so good result. But market just goes up. Stock just goes up. I think it will change now. And people will start looking at the fundamentals again, which is a good thing. Even now, after the correction, there's part of mid and small caps where there's still froth. I mean, even at this valuation, they haven't become so attractive that you just go close your eyes and go and buy. I think so. It's good that sanity is coming back.
Nimesh?
Raamdeo, you spoke about identifying a tailwind, and I believe you've turned very bullish on the new age businesses. You personally invested into Zepto. Your private equity owns Swiggy. Your fund owns Zomato. What's the view there? And I'm going to toss it to one of your colleagues as well, who's going to manage the digital strategy for Motilal Oswal AMC. But your first one, then I'll go to him as well.
Yeah, so I fundamentally believe that when anything goes digital, see, we have seen it very closely. In 87, the total transaction in stock market was 200 crores per day. Today, and settlement was T plus 15, and we used to labor to settle that. Today, it is 400 lakh crores per day. Okay. There is no industry which has grown at 2 lakh times in 30 years.
Yes.
Okay, so that is possible purely because of technology and digital. Yeah. Okay, and it's still growing at 50. In fact, regulators are scared of the growth of the industry. So much so. So anything goes digital, it just goes wild.
Okay.
Okay. So now grocery is going digital. Your food delivery is going digital. Everybody is a consumer. I mean, you can see in your own house, there is actual consumer behavior change and intense. Okay. And these are not small categories. There are $1 trillion categories. And how many guys? 3 guys at early stage. So you have to, and it's not only about them. All the digital business, whether it is in payment, whether it is in insurance, whether it is in navigation or whatever you say, anything goes digital. I mean, how many times you see your map when you're traveling for half an hour?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, who's going to tell you where is this particular place? Okay. So I think the use of digital. So my sense is that like what is happening in US and China and all, I think the number of digital companies in India are going to explode sector after sector. And I don't know which one will go 100x. Sure. But if you have the full bucket of 15, 20 companies, the entire bucket will go up by maybe 25, 30% in next 10 years.
Let me go to one of your colleagues. Varun is here. Varun, thanks for joining in. You've done a lot of work on the digital space. If you want to just quickly run through your thesis and some big numbers on why you feel it's an opportunity for the decade.
Yes, sure. See, Raamdeo ji has covered most of it.
Yeah.
But we are seeing digital coming in each and every sector, right? We saw these trends in the US, we saw these trends in China. India just lagged behind, but we have all the digital pillars in place today. So when we are looking at next 10, 15, 20 years, we know that digital companies are going to emanate from each and every sector in various constructs, be it B2C, B2B, or even B2B2C. And that is something that we are, banking on right now, that this is a big tailwind, like just like what, Raamdeo ji talked about. And possibly this is going to be the biggest tailwind across sectors over the next 10, 15, 20 years.
How big could be the TAM? When you talk about total addressable market, how big could be that market on the digital side?
So currently the numbers that are coming out are, currently we have about 8% of our GDP as digital, and very quickly over the next 6 years is going up to 20%. And it's not going to stop there. You can imagine, this penetration is going to continue to happen.
Can this happen, Raamdeo? 20% of GDP coming from the digital companies?
It looks like big, but compounding is always very mesmerizing, particularly 10 years, 20 years, what it can do.
Okay. Arun, you want to add anything else?
Absolutely. I think it's quite fascinating that we are seeing so many new companies, smaller companies, which are gaining scale phenomenally. And we're very excited for the next few years. We'll see many more new companies coming out and get listed. Exciting times for us.
Okay.
I want to take that point forward actually. The fact that you mentioned the penetration that is growing exponentially when it comes to digital. Two other sectors which are in similar categories, not digital exactly. One is financialization of savings that you just mentioned. The number of demat accounts, the way it's growing exponentially, but the penetration is still not as to that level that you would think, okay, it's a massive sector. Same for insurance, but insurance, even after so many years, it's not managed to reach that level. Do you think AMCs or this financialization of savings as a theme would be a faster scaling theme compared to insurance when it comes to penetration exposure?
Yeah, I mean, see, it's a savings product. This one is entire savings product. So what we have seen in broking and all, I mean, the moment it has gone digital, the ease of boarding and participating has become far easier. And see, one broking account, my broking account could be worth hundreds of crores. Okay, but my insurance account will be only that much. How much premium can I pay? So that opportunity size is my total savings. If I'm worth 1,000 crores, my entire 1,000 crores is available for trading and wealth management and asset management, all sorts of things. But insurance is not like that. So TAM gets slightly distorted when it comes to entire capital market, and that to digital.
We're talking all the big stuff, and that's what we should do, right? Look ahead, and but slightly near term. I want to just ask you, Raamdeo, how much more?
Huh?
How much more on the downside? You think?
Downside?
7% market has fallen. Nifty has fallen from highs. How much more? Will we be higher by next Diwali? You think?
Next Diwali for sure. For sure will be higher, but how much higher I don't know. But these things are, see, first thing is nothing to do with India.
Right.
It is to do with what happened in China.
Right.
China did a stimulus and people got excited about it.
Right.
They might again be disappointed. What is there? And then people will run from there to here.
Correct.
My problems are my own earnings, so that we must address.
Correct.
We can do nothing about China's stimulus.
Correct.
So I think that's a temporary phase. We have to pass this time, and what I was, just think the day on which FIs become neutral or positive on India, what happens?
But do you think it's possible we are in a bit of a time correction phase? We flatline for a while. It's possible.
I mean, don't ask me like a chartist. I don't know. I've never seen.
We have Chandan right there.
Chandan is there. You ask him. He's the guy. Actually, he's the guy. I mean, he spends 24 hours looking at charts.
No, we will bring him in as well. But do you think the market does nothing for a while? I mean, the go-go markets we had, the euphoric markets for the last many years, that we kind of temper a little bit.
Pace of 15% is on. Last 5 years is only 16% return. Let me tell you. Nifty return is just about 110% total for 5 years.
Okay.
That is about 16%.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem in saying that it could be 100% up in next 5 years.
So,
and in next 10 years, for sure, it will be 4x.
So market is going to double.
Yes.
In
5 years.
In next 5 years. So you.
That is my expectation.
That's your thesis.
That's my expectation. I mean, who knows?
All right.
I guess with that, we'll wrap up this part of the conversation. Thank you so much for joining in and shedding some light, in the festival of lights on how we're looking at wealth and our investments. Thank you so much, Navneet and Raamdeo, for joining in and giving us all of those insightful ideas for wealth creation and investing in the new Samvat. Thank you very much for joining in. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Diwali special. We wish all of our viewers season's greetings. Wish you a very, very happy and prosperous Diwali. Thank you for watching.